Hey guys, welcome to the Dream Lab. Excited to have you join us for another episode of Dream Lab. This time we have a dream from our friend Kathy. So Kathy, come on up and share your dream.
Okay. In this dream, I was in Mexico with my mom. And I remember just having the sense that I needed to come to the United States, back to the United States. And my mom said, well, there's no flights till next Saturday. It appeared that it was a Saturday. And she said, so you either get out today or you're just not going to get out. And there's only one flight left at 4:30. So I said, oh my gosh, I got to get out of Mexico. I got to go back to the US. So I started getting on my computer and I went to Expedia.com. And you know how usually there's flights listed? But these were tanks, military tanks. And I had a choice of about 6 different military tanks that were leaving at 4:30. And the prices, they were over $1,000 to take the tank back. But I remember thinking, wow, okay, I guess this is the only way I could get back to the US. And I thought, that's going to be a very slow ride. But that's it.
All right. Okay, so make sure we've got this clear. So you're in Mexico with your family.
Just my mom.
Just your mom. And you're talking about how you need to get back to the USA. And your mom says, well, you need to leave today because if you don't leave today, you're going to have to wait until next Saturday because the flights only go out on Saturday.
Correct.
And the last flight that goes out today is at 4:30. So you need to do something quickly. And you're like, oh, okay. So you get on Expedia.com because you really want to get back to the USA sooner than later.
Yes.
And instead of seeing flights listed, you're seeing different tanks that are listed. And then the prices that it'll take, all of them leaving at 4:30, but like 6 different choices.
Right.
And you're thinking, well, that's expensive, but okay, that's the price that it is. So it's going to be a slow journey to get there, but at least I'm going to get back. And that's where the dream ended.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much. Awesome. Okay, so go ahead and pause the video and come up, what is the title of this dream? What are your focus? What's your focus, your sub-focuses, your details, and then write out an interpretation. And once you're all finished, come back and we'll let you know what we got here in the lab. Well, welcome back to the lab. Let's start working through some of the details of this dream. So first off, what did you guys title it? Nobody came up with the title.
Slow Ride Home.
Slow Ride Home, okay. Slow Ride Home. All right, and then who or what is the focus of the dream?
Dreamer.
The dreamer, yes. That's our focus. And what are our sub-focuses? Okay. And let's put that. That would be a detail off of Mexico. And what else?
Sabbath. Saturday.
So Saturday, can only do it on a Saturday?
Certain time. 4:30.
Oops. It's not the best place for that circle, but it'll work. Okay.
Would US be a
US, because that's where she's going. So that would be a sub-focus or an important detail. You could go either way, because that's kind of the whole point of the tank is to get back to the US, get back to America. So you could put sub-focus or a detail. And there's one other piece that's important in this dream. Her mother, yeah. That's an important detail. Or is more a detail. You almost can't leave it out. And so I write detail because I'm talking while I'm writing. So that is a detail, as everybody can tell. Isn't that great? Okay, well, let's try this again. I'm going to put mother inside of that circle with the word detail, because it is a detail. Wow. Okay. So, what does Mexico represent in this dream? So because she wasn't actually born in Mexico, though her family's from that, so it could represent something that's generational. It could represent an inheritance or a heritage. And what would U.S. stand for?
Home or current or foundational. Or...
Yeah, because if it's almost the contrast between Mexico and the U.S., something that is from the bloodline, from the inheritance versus where she's at now. So there would be that's that difference, because understanding U.S. is in the context of understanding Mexico. So if it was just the U.S. outside of that, then it might have other meanings. But so this is a current situation. Or home. Familiar would be another thought that would fit that. So you're going to go in that general direction with that understanding. Okay, and so she's trying to get to home. She's trying to get back home. She's trying to get back to the familiar, back to where she's at now. And how is she going to get there? Through a tank. What does a tank represent?
Safety.
It's safe. Okay. What else?
Warfare.
It's warfare.
She wasn't fighting. She didn't have a sense to fight anything.
Okay.
She was more of in a place of rest because she was in a hurry.
Yeah, she was in a place of rest, but she's in a machinery of war. Right. And what else that she mentioned in the dream that was about this tank? Well, it was expensive.
There were only 6 of them.
So I'm going to write this because she said it was slow. She said it was slow. And it was expensive that it was going to be there, because remember, she was looking on Expedia. There's 6 different options to get her back there, but they were like $1,000, which is a little bit more than what would be normal for that travel. So it's going to be costly. And we kind of ran out of places to put it, but what could Expedia, is there something, why that particular website?
She wanted to expedite. She wanted a fast track.
Yeah. Contrast to what she wanted something quicker than what it actually, or looking for something.
Expedient. So now you guys that are at home, you get to cheat. You can actually look up the definition of that word, because that's going to be key to this dream. Okay. 4:30. Anything important about that, or was it just the time?
It's in the afternoon.
It's in the afternoon. Okay. It could be symbolic of, what might that be symbolic of?
Verse 4:30.
It could possibly be a Bible verse. So chapter 4, verse 30. Yeah, I didn't get anything particular on that. So I wasn't sure where to go with that. And it's one of those details, if you leave it out when you're repeating back the dream, it doesn't really change the plot of the dream. So if you have something on it, you can put it in there. But if you don't, you can just leave it lay. Now, Saturday, because that was a kind of an emotional piece of it. Hey, you've got to do it today, or it's going to be a whole week from now, because it only happens on Saturday. What is Saturday?
Sabbath.
Sabbath. So it talks about rest. Can't be done in work. It's got to be done in rest. The only way that it's actually going to happen. Okay. Anything else? Why mom? So it ties back into the whole thing of Mexico, where it's about inheritance, where it's about heritage. It's a bloodline thing. So it's that piece. It's not that she's just back in Mexico. It's she's in Mexico with her mom, which is almost an exclamation point that this is about an inheritance or bloodline issue. Yeah. So I'll put family because it's easier to write. All right. So that gives us a lot of different pieces to think through. Why don't we have one or two of the team leaders come up and share what their team's got?
So what we thought was that the dream is talking about a bloodline issue, probably obviously in history, and it possibly when you talk about bloodline, you're talking about the generations, and that right now it's really important. That's what the urgency was about, to go forward and what the Lord is calling you to do. And so the journey, at first you might have thought it was going to be kind of normal, like taking a plane, but this one is a little bit different, and it's expensive and it is slow. So you're going to be in this tank in the dream, right? And you book the flight, so you're the one, obeying directly and calling the shots directly. Our group didn't really talk about that, but then those things talk about what you're going to possibly be encountering. So why a tank instead of a plane? What can a tank do, right? What does a tank symbolize? And so it's heavily armed, but also it's armed. So like you're protected and you can shoot also. And it doesn't carry a lot of people, so it's not like, and it's not for passengers. And so the expense represents the cost. It doesn't have to be financial, but that it's going to cost, and that this is slow. But there's a lot of things that tell us you're in peace when you make this decision. Or not peace, rest. Rest is the word. And so it has to do with moving forward into whatever the Lord is taking you into next, and how the difference between Mexico and the United States, that you're going into this kind of like homeland or what you're familiar with, or you're like what John was saying, your current situation. So you're not going to stay over where you were, which might have been foreign, and not as familiar, but now you're going to be in this more familiar place. There could be warfare, but you're armed, you're protected, and you're not only protected in the sense of the word armed, but you're armed as in you can shoot too.
All right, so
I'm afraid I'd be repeating myself if I said it.
yeah.
So I just want to
So
stop here.
let's do this. So summarize in one or two sentences, what does the dreamer need to know about this dream? Just one or two sentences.
All right. Kathy, there's a time that you're coming into and you're going to be well protected where the Lord is taking you. And it might cost you, and there might be some things going on that's kind of like, feel like war, but you are well protected. You are going to be able to rest in Him, and you're completely equipped to do what you need to do in this next season.
All right. So hold on for just 1 second, because I want to make a couple comments, because this is key in interpreting dreams. How many of you could feel the difference between what she just said versus the explanation before? One, she's trying to explain. The other, she's ministering to the person. And so when you're interpreting dreams, like it's good, like we're in a class setting, we're all learning together, so it's good to explain forth. But when you are interpreting a dream for somebody, don't give them so much explanation. Just tell them what the dream means. Well, what about this? What about this? Well, this is why I said this, because that's what this piece of the dream was. Oh, well, what were the tanks? Well, this is why I said that. That's what this piece of the dream was. And so you can bring it back, but most of the time they won't. They just need to know what's the most important thing that they're going to walk away from. So the question that you're answering is, why did God give this dream to this dreamer? If you can answer that question, you've got a good dream interpretation. You could have all the pieces right, but if you don't answer that question, you do not have a good dream interpretation. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Did you want to? Sure. Come on up.
All right. So, Kathy, what I got out of that was talking about the U.S. and Mexico is that with the mother, right, you've got things that feel like there's, pressure for you to do certain things. But I really felt like as you begin to rest and learn to wait upon the Lord, yes, it's going to cost some time. It's going to, cost some things that you might put down. But, as you do that, I feel like the Lord's really going to show you that you do have, what you need, that He's all you need, and that through these things, regardless of what goes on around you, that peace and rest is really going to stand firm as that protection and power that you're looking for.
All right. Thank you. Good. So here's a fun thing about dreams, because dreams will have layers, right? So it'll apply personally, but it can also have other applications as well. This is one of those dreams that has multiple applications, because there's a personal application, which both of our interpretations have hit the personal application. But Kathy's also an intercessor, and this dream is giving her recognition of something that's going on for her to pray into. Because it's about culture and inheritance, and people are just looking for the most expedient way to move on to the new thing and integrate with American society, and they're not holding on to their culture and their inheritance, and it's going to be costly, and it's going to be a battle, and it's going to be slow. And the question is, what will get left behind if they do that? Now, that word expedient is why Expedia, the word expedient, it actually has a negative connotation. Because it's the idea, well, what's the quickest, what's the easiest? But it's all about what's the easiest for me to get what I want out of the situation, even if it's, and actually, I think it was Merriam-Webster says, even if it's immoral or improper. It's expedient. The idea is, doesn't matter, I'm just going to get it done as quickly as possible. And there's 6 options. This is all man's idea. That's the number of man. And so there's something about what she's getting and being able to move into, which is a positive thing in her own life. And she has something that she's been given that she needs to protect, she needs to get back to no matter what the cost. But there's also a call to pray, because there's a generation that's leaving behind their culture just to integrate into America. And it's costly, and it's going to be a battle, and it's really not, it's violating things that shouldn't be violated to get it done. Right? So once you have the main meaning of the dream, you're trying to get back to your home. You're trying to get back to current. Or we're going to go in the intercessory way, that there's people that are trying to leave their inheritance and move on to something, the new thing, something that maybe they don't see their roots with. Maybe they haven't been born in their culture, but they have something from their culture that they're leaving behind to fit into this American thing. So whichever way you go, that's the main point of the dream, is getting from Mexico to the USA. And what's the process? How are you going to get there? That, as long as that's the main point of what you communicate, then all these other details bring in nuance, and they bring in flavor, and they help to explain and support the main point of the dream. And so it's one of those things. Once you've figured out that main point, then you can start going through the details. But if we did this before we had that main point, then we make the whole dream about the fact that it's 4:30. Or the whole dream about the fact that it's got to be rest, when that's a minor point. It's a point. It's included in there. You see how that connection. So it's really good, and that's the fun thing about dreams, is because once you figured them out, you haven't figured them out. There's another layer, and then there's another layer. I mean, I've had dreams that I've interpreted, 6, 7 times, because I understood it at one level, and then there's another level that opened up, and then another level, and there's layers of application, and there's layers of detail in the details that begin to draw out and fill in those pieces. And so once you get your interpretation, not every dream do you have to do this, but when you have one of those dreams that like, this is a key dream, don't stop there. Keep on praying through that dream. See what else begins to come out of it, begins to pull out of it. Because, I mean, I've got dreams that I had almost 10 years ago that I go through on a semi-regular basis because I'm seeing how it's playing out in a new way where I'm at, or it brings back an emphasis, a theme that God was pointing out at that time. I couldn't understand at that time because I wasn't there yet. But now that I'm walking in what was in that dream, now I'm starting to see, oh, that's what that piece is. And so when you have those major type dreams, begin to, don't just, okay, I interpreted that and then move on. Some dreams you have to. Some dreams you just wake up and you understand the meaning of it. And as soon as you understand the meaning of it, you repent or you say yes or whatever is the meaning, and then you go on with your day, and you may never come back to that dream. There are dreams where it's like somebody saying, hey, could you hand me the glass of water? You just hand them a glass of water. You don't keep on thinking about, what kind of vocal inflection did they use when they asked me to hand them that glass of water? Was the water cold? Was the water warm? Do they like cold water? Maybe they like lukewarm. You don't have to go there when it's just about handing a glass of water. But when there's deeper things that are going on, you keep on delving in. You keep on finding more and exploring, and let that exploration and let Holy Spirit take it into a new place. Make sense? That's fun. Yeah. Well, guys, thanks for joining us on the Dream Lab. We'll see you next time.